Hey guys, we're Kyle and Madie and we're traveling on just $60 a day as a couple. In today's video, we're showing you everything we packed for our epic 13-day trek to Everest Base Camp, which we completed with no guide, no porter, and no trekking experience.
So we have completed the Mount Everest Base Camp trek, but we decided we would wait to show you our packing until we knew if it was actually good packing.
Right, so we figured it would be a little bit more beneficial to you if we waited until we were done with the trek to tell you exactly what we brought and kind of what we thought about it all.
Because we were carrying our own stuff, we just packed what we thought was going to be the essentials.
Right, like seriously, we probably only brought like one or two things each that we didn't end up using.
Yep.
And let me tell you, we ended up super smelly, super nasty. But it completely worked out, and it was so rewarding getting to base camp knowing that we did this on our own and we were able to do it in a way that most other people don't, and I think that's pretty amazing.
So we were able to weigh in our bags before we left, and I weighed in at 13.4 kilograms and Maddie was at like 11.2 kilograms. So
that's important to know.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this first because we brought way more electronics than maybe other people would bring, which one, added to our bags and made them heavier, but two, allowed us to film and make content like we did. So
starting off in the electronics bag, I carried this in my backpack. We had two RAV power banks, amazing power banks. They charge your phone up to like 10 times each, so necessity for us with all of our camera gear.
We also had the stick for our GoPro. We actually didn't end up using our GoPro, so
except for the flight back from Lukla.
Right, and so that's kind of something to add. Like we didn't need to take that, so that was kind of added weight we didn't need.
And of course we had our GoPro. This is the Hero Black 7, and then the Hero 7 Black, and then we had the GoPro window mount for the flight back on the airplane.
And then kind of other things that we did not use, but we were still glad to have, was an extra lens for our little camera. And we also had the adapter for it as well.
We brought our backup camera just in case anything happened to our main camera. So we didn't use it, luckily, but it was a good thing to have just in case since we're filming every day.
And it's super light, and it's a Canon M50. Super tiny. This is the kind of like little charger for that.
And then for all of our charging needs at night, we had a travel charging adapter. It's a great one. It has 4 USB, a USB-C, and then it has any little country adapter that you need.
For our charging purposes, we actually got super lucky and got to charge for free quite often. But if we weren't able to charge for free, we did just use our power banks, which ended up working perfect.
Yep.
So also, we, along with all of our chargers and everything, we had all the batteries for all of our cameras. Yes. For our big camera that we were vlogging on, we had 4 batteries?
We brought all 5 of our batteries.
We had 5 batteries for that. So in addition to that, we had my Apple Watch charger and my Apple Watch that we brought. This was actually really helpful checking our pulse ox levels when we were higher up. When you're up towards base camp, your pulse ox levels are like 70 to 75, so it's kind of good to keep track of those, which was nice.
We had a bunch of extra like USB and USB-C, micro USB and USB-C cords.
This was to charge like our power banks and the GoPro and stuff like that. And then we also had a little bit of extra US dollars with us just in case.
Plus we had a little mini screwdriver just in case anything went wrong with some of the lenses.
Right. We also obviously brought our vlogging camera that we are filming on right now. We did not bring either of our laptops or chargers for those, obviously, but we did have our phones with us. That's our last electronic thing that we did have. So,
our vlogging camera is a beast, so it added quite a bit of weight carrying every day.
Alright, so our next category is kind of our toiletries plus like random other things that we brought that you also need to bring.
Yes.
So first starting out, our water bottles. So I just have like a normal Camelback water bottle. This is 1 liter. I think that's pretty important just because you want to be able to fill up like as much as possible when you're able to fill up. So I have a 1 liter.
I have it's Grand Tides. It's from Amazon. It's a 1/2 liter water bottle, and you definitely want to go with a 1 liter water bottle for trekking, because once you get higher up the mountain, the fresh streams become less plentiful, so you're filling up a lot less.
So to go along with our water bottles, one of the most important things that we brought was our Steri pen. So our Steri pen, it looks like this, and it has a little cap that comes off of it. And this is what we use to sterilize every single bottle of water we drink.
So going up the mountain, you need to make sure to have some source of water sterilization. So that could be sterilization tablets, a Steri pen, a life straw.
Something, because water is so expensive up there. And also you don't want to be buying a bunch of water bottles and kind of adding to the pollution that's already on the mountains.
Yes.
So you do want something that you are able to refill and sterilize your water with. This one's really nice because it's actually rechargeable, so we don't have to carry extra batteries with it. We just plug it into our power banks, recharge it. I think we literally recharged it like 1 time the entire time we went, and we were drinking at least like 3 to 4 liters of water a day a piece. So.
And an example of a price, so when we were at the top in Gorakshep, a bottle of water costs 500 rupees, so it's a money saver. This thing, it was paid off with just this trip.
Right. So. The next thing that is super, super, super important is UV protection.
Yes.
So we both had sunglasses. Honestly, these are just cheapo sunglasses we got off Amazon before we left to travel. But you have to have sunglasses while you're trekking. You get up into the mountains, the UV is so strong, you have to have these.
And then when you are hiking and you have snow-capped mountains that you're looking at all day with the sun shining on them, it will wreck your eyes. So sunglasses. Buy them, have them.
And to go along with that is sunscreen.
Yes.
So we brought 2 different kinds of sunscreen, and we aren't the people who like religiously put sunscreen on, but when you're in the mountains, you religiously put sunscreen on. So we have a Neutrogena face one that was 55 SPF, and then we also had this one that we got in Turkey that's just 30 SPF that we used for our body. But seriously, another thing you have to have is sunscreen. You will get so fried if you are not wearing sunscreen.
It doesn't matter how tan you are, you're going to get fried with the UV intensity up there. And then to go along with those, we have lip balm. Our friend had a UV lip balm, so Madie would use his, but for our chapped lips, because it's so dry up there, I just had it was a Nivea lip balm.
And so. I had I actually keep this on our normal travel bag, but it's a little dongle for your chapstick, and I just had Burt's Bees in here. Chapstick is another must. You're putting it on constantly while you're up in the mountains, so that's another like really important thing to bring. So moving on from that, we are going into our like a little bit toiletry section, kind of.
Yes. So starting off, something that is super important. You have to have it. You won't survive if you don't. Well, you would survive, but
it'd be gross.
You have to bring your own toilet paper, because none of the tea houses provide tissue or toilet paper. So we bought a 6-pack down in Kathmandu, and it was perfect. So about 2 rolls a piece lasted us for 2 weeks.
And then on top of that, we also brought 3 packs of baby wipes. So these can be used if you run out of toilet paper, but probably the most important thing they're used for are baby wipe showers, because you are able to shower on the mountain, but 1, it's expensive, and 2, it's so cold that you will be freezing if you get out of water. So we had baby wipe showers every single night. We allotted like 4 wipes a piece a day or something like that. And this is absolutely something you need to bring. I would say you probably only need to bring like 1 pack a person.
Yes, 190 pack a person for the 2 weeks.
Oh, continuing with our toiletries, we had a clear little bag that went inside Kyle's backpack. And this kind of has a lot of random stuff in it.
First thing out of it, baby powder. Buy it and have it because you will put it in your socks and shoes to make your room stink a lot less.
That's an issue.
Yeah. You can also put it in your hair for the oiliness, but it was so dry up there that we really didn't need to use that.
Right. Kind of the next thing is like antibiotic ointment and stuff like that. This is important just in case something happens. You get a cut or like your blisters open, because you will get blisters and you need to put antibiotic ointment on it.
And then Maddie had a face lotion and an SPF lotion for her body after we hiked.
Right. I also brought my contact solution. I only wore my contacts a few days, and they're daily ones anyway, so I would just throw them away. Didn't really need this, but glad I had it.
Also brought some tea treatment oil. Our scalps got super dry and dandruffy, so this helped them quite a bit.
Right.
It's something that you should have.
Right. And then I also brought some zit cream just in case you weren't really able to wash your face that often, so this came in handy when you'd get acne.
Some perfume to spray your nasty clothes down with. Maddie used this a little bit.
I did. And then this is just a little packet of shampoo that you can buy for like 20 rupees up the mountain. Honestly, it's best to just go and buy a few of these packs before you leave, or just buy them up on the mountain.
I wouldn't buy them before you leave because they could pop in your bag. Just buy them in the town that you want to take a shower in because it's 20 rupees, so.
Right. And then you don't have to carry like a big thing of shampoo around with you. And I guess lastly are my contacts, but that I only brought a few.
Okay, moving into our daily use toiletries that were super important. This is my bag. I can't take this traveling everywhere. Super nice. We have both of our toothbrushes that went in it and a tube of toothpaste.
We have a microfiber towel that actually came in use once we were able to shower. Yep. We only showered twice, but it did come in handy for those 2 times.
Yes. We both had our deodorant sticks, whatever you prefer.
I had floss that went with that. We had our little thing of Q-tips.
2 albuterol inhalers because I do have asthma. She does too, mildly. Even if you don't have asthma, I'd say an inhaler is a good thing to have with you. Because
also once you get to higher altitudes, you do start developing a cough, and that kind of helps like cough stuff up.
Yep.
So good. I have my little mini hairbrush that I brought, and also my Motrin, so ibuprofen. This is important because if you are not wanting to take acetazolamide, which is the altitude sickness medication, you can actually take ibuprofen for your headache. They say it mildly helps prevent AMS. Apparently we're not doctors, so don't take that seriously. But I personally did not like how acetazolamide made me feel, so I instead took ibuprofen for the high altitude headache that I would get.
We also had our acetazolamide prescription, but you can buy it in packs all the way up the mountain, so no need to get a prescription before you come.
Yeah, so the last thing was anti-diarrhea medication. We did not take this, we did not need it. Vicks Vapor Rub, this actually helped a lot. Dan and I got sick while we were up on the mountain, and so we would just rub it on our necks and it would like clear up our sinuses. It was amazing.
And then some medication that we bought up the mountain. We brought laxatives, but you do not want to take these up in the mountain because you're going to be dehydrated already. So you don't want to get more dehydrated. Just deal with constipation.
Right.
And then we had a decongestant tablet that we bought in Kathmandu. We had Strepsils, which are medicated cough drops, which you probably will need because you're going to get a cough.
Right. And then we just have eye drops for Kyle. He gets really bad allergies. So eye drops. And Kyle's razor that he shaved his face.
I shaved my neck with once because it was really itchy.
Yeah.
But
that was it.
And then we also had more US dollars, always handy to keep it stashed away because you never know when you need it.
And then the last two things we had are, I actually don't know where they are, nail clippers and a pair of tweezers, just in case.
Yep.
You never know. Moving on slightly from toiletries, but kind of in the same area, is kind of our little, like our first aid bag, I guess you would call it. So this bag came in very handy. So we had some little padded skin tape that we used to cover our blisters. We rented he rented boots, I bought boots, and they both sucked. And so we definitely got blisters, so we used this a lot.
Lots of nasty blisters, so.
And on top of that, we also brought a ton of Band-Aids in here because, again, blisters, and you never quite know what's going to happen.
Some gauze pads, just in case. Didn't use them. Good to have, though.
And something that's a little bit TMI, but I feel like is a huge hack, is if you're a girl, bring some panty liners with you, because for me, I only brought 10 pairs of underwear traveling in general, and our trek was 13 days long, so if you do the math, that's not enough for every day. Use some panty liners, saves your underwear, lets you rewear them again, and I know that's really gross, but it's what you gotta do in the mountain.
And then, coming from some families that work in medical field in the U.S., we had some skin glue. You could probably just use some tape or super glue if you're in a bind, but
you don't need that, but it's really helpful just in case anything were to happen to us or anyone else.
Yep. And then at night we had earplugs, but we didn't use them. There were some nights we almost got them out because tea house walls are paper thin and there were some old men snoring really loud.
Yeah, it is an issue. We each had one of these headbands. They're actually from our tuk-tuk tournament. And
go Corey and Wolf.
Woo woo. And pretty much what I used this for was to wrap my glasses in so they didn't get scratched while I was wearing my sunglasses. And it worked really, really well, actually.
Lens cloth, glass cleaning cloth.
Absolutely need that because it is so dusty on the trail that one, you're going to want to clean your sunglasses, and two, I always need to clean my glasses.
Yes.
So there's that. Kind of a little bit more important of things are like your wallet. So this is my wallet that I carry everywhere. I actually didn't use it one time, but.
Yep. I had my wallet with all of my cards in it. I didn't use my credit cards at all up the mountain, but we brought a ton of rupee. This is not nearly what we brought, but we had a brick of cash. It was 95,000 It was 95,000 Nepalese rupee.
Which is like a brick of cash.
So for two people for 13 days, 95,000 Nepalese rupee was plenty. We really only had like 8,000 left, so if you're not as budget friendly as we are, maybe bring a little bit more cash.
The next thing that you absolutely need is your passport. So going through the checkpoints where you need to get your permits, if you're doing it alone, you will need your passport, and then you will also get like permits and stuff like that. So
Trek cards.
Yep, you get your permits, you get trek cards, you get a lot of different things. So being able to keep everything in one place is really handy.
All right.
On top of important documents and things, we printed out all of our important documents, like our copies of our passports, copies of our vaccines, copies of
our health insurance that we use. So.
Right, everything. We ended up bringing one of our copies of everything because you never know if you're going to need it.
Something that you will definitely want to have is carabiners, so like little metal clips. We use these every day to hook stuff to the outside of our bags, so you want probably at least 3 apiece.
I only used one.
Well, I used a couple, but just in case.
But yeah,
just in case your bag breaks, helps hold it together.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. This is one thing that we brought that we really ended up not really using. It is just a little silicone bowl. Kyle did end up using this one time for some ramen noodles he bought, and that's a really funny clip, but yeah.
All right. Something else that was life-saving for us is the candy that we brought up the mountain. So I went shopping for food. I guess we'll include the food, but we don't have it because we ate it already. So this is our last candy bar that I bought. So we brought 26 candy bars up the mountain. So enough for each of us to have one a day. Candy bars, I bought these for 40 rupee a piece in Kathmandu. Up the mountain, they were selling for upwards of 700 rupee. So
A piece.
a piece.
Right, so they get super expensive. If you're trying to do it on a budget, definitely bring your own from down in
Yep.
Kathmandu.
If you're not worried about that, you don't have to, because it did add some kilograms to my bag from the start, but it was a big money saver for us, and candy bars are a good calorie. It's a good empty calorie to eat. Plus, you're going to want some chocolate.
Right. And then as we were up, and I think in Namche Bazaar, we did buy these little hard candies for like 450 rupees. There's a ton in here, and these are just nice to just suck on.
Moving into our entertainment for the night, because we did get into towns around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon every single day, so it gave us a lot of time, and a lot of time we didn't have cell signal, and we didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So we brought a pack of playing cards
That we never ended up using.
because our friend Dan from the UK, he brought a pack of Uno, and we had an ultimate Uno tournament for 2 weeks straight.
But on top of playing cards, something that was super helpful were having a book apiece. We do not read, but we did read on this trek because you get sick of Uno. You get sick of just sitting and talking and doing nothing. So having a book or something else to do is awesome. The last thing that we had in this random category of stuff is a map for Everest Base Camp region. So it's a gigantic map. This helped so much because it had, we could see where towns were, we could see where we're halfway was, so we could eat lunch. It actually showed you some trekking times as well, so this was super helpful to have, and I'm really glad we ended up bringing this.
Another thing on the topic of maps is download maps.me, because you can get offline maps, and it shows you...
This is not sponsored.
No, and it shows you the exact trails that you are going to end up walking on. So it's a good... And it shows you your elevation and like the distance to the next town. So it's a nice thing to have.
It is nice. All right, moving on to a different section, we are going to move on to our bags and clothes. If we bought something in Kathmandu, I'll also be putting the price of it up on the screen, just so you know kind of how much to pay for things if you're going to buy things here. So, first things first, we both bought our bags here. They are North Face, but they're fake. And this bag actually ended up working out perfectly for me. I was able to strap things with this strap to it. So I was able to fit my sleeping bag and my puffer coat in on it, which was really helpful. It has bungee strings right here that I was able to put my hat in, and it fit everything I needed it to fit.
Yes.
So.
Mine was also a fake North Face. It started breaking apart at the end, but it made it through the 2 weeks, and that's all we needed it for.
Yeah.
Yep, if you're buying your stuff in Kathmandu, haggle.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Don't buy it at the first price they tell you, haggle.
But going on to like our warmer clothes, we each bought a hat in Kathmandu. These hats are kind of like fleece lined on the inside.
Yes.
They're super nice. The second half of our trip, we wore them the entire time, pretty much at night and during the day. It got pretty cold up there, so this was really helpful.
We both bought some gloves,
which are absolutely needed.
You will wear them probably the entire second half of your trip when you're up the mountain, so get gloves.
Honestly, I don't think we needed any thicker
gloves. These were cheap gloves.
They were.
Something to cover your hands. And they also had the fingers that you could touch your phone screen with, which is actually really nice because when you're using your phone for maps, it works out perfect.
Kind of the next thing we had that was warm clothing was these trekking pants that we bought that we never ended up using.
Yes, but
we're so glad we had them still though.
Yeah, it's better to have more warm clothes than you need. I mean, we already had like minimal stuff.
Right.
So for the just in case of needing trekking pants, I would bring them.
Right. We did not end up using them, but we are very glad that we had them as a just in case scenario.
A lot of people do wear their trekking pants all day, even at lower elevations. So it could be just us, but
we didn't use them.
yeah, so.
Kind of the other thing that we had that was our warm gear were our puffer jackets. We don't have them right now because we rented them.
Yes.
But we will put a video of them up. And also our sleeping bags. We also rented those, and we felt that that was the best economical decision for us.
Yep.
Since we do not want to be sending all that stuff back home.
Uh-huh.
Our sleeping bags were rated for negative 20 degrees Celsius, which was perfect. We highly recommend that you get a negative 20 degrees Celsius sleeping bag. We actually were sweating most nights, even way up at the top. So you want the warmest sleeping bag you can get because it is very, very cold at the top.
I guess these are my trekking pants. Same as Maddie's basically, so.
All right. Kind of some outer layer gear that we brought. We each brought a raincoat that was super tied up in the bottom of our bags. We did not end up using these at all, which is fantastic.
But we went during dry season, so if you're going basically anytime before November, have a raincoat, have a poncho.
Even bring one, even if you are going in the dry season, because you do not want to be stuck out in the rain because you're going to be freezing.
And you have all the same clothes for 2 weeks, and if they're wet, you need to dry them somehow. So,
yeah,
raincoats, bring them.
I brought this sweatshirt I'm wearing. I did not wear it at all, so it was kind of a waste to bring. But I did bring my green scuba Lululemon sweatshirt, and I wore this every single day. It smelled terrible by the end, but seriously, this was like a lifesaver as one of my layers.
I brought this sweatshirt. I maybe wore it once, so I could have went without it, but the thing that I wore every day in place of a sweatshirt was my long sleeve fleece. This was my outer layer every day. And it was all I needed to stay warm. But I'm pretty hot-blooded, so.
I also got a fleece. We bought both of these here in Kathmandu. I wore this probably the second half of the trip when it really started getting colder. I started putting this on underneath my sweatshirt.
Another long sleeve, like quarter zip that I brought up. I didn't wear it once, so it was useless for me.
Kind of going into a little bit warmer clothing still, I did have this one long sleeve shirt that I wore. This was nice at a little bit lower elevation. It was a little bit chilly, but not too bad. And then at upper elevations, I was able to layer it all, so this was really nice to have.
Another daily wear, once I got further up the mountain, was leggings. I wore a pair of shorts, and under the shorts I had leggings, because the leggings kept my legs just warm enough, and pants were just too hot for me. So leggings are pretty important for both guys and girls, I would say.
I did not wear any leggings while trekking, but what I did wear are my Lululemon sweatpants. These were the absolute perfect consistency for the entire trek. They also smelled really bad by the end, but they were the perfect warmth for everyday wear, and I really, really loved having these. So I'm glad I brought them.
And then getting into like my daily wear t-shirts. So at the bottom of the mountain, I brought a cotton t-shirt, which was a huge mistake. Don't bring cotton up the mountain. It just like absorbs all the dirt. It gets disgusting. They get wet and they don't dry. So instead, bring any type of sporty material, like stretchy sport type material shirt. I wore this shirt every single day up the mountain. And it didn't get too smelly, actually, and it worked perfect.
I wore this shirt pretty much every day while we were in a little bit warmer climate, and it's like a polyester spandex mix. This one did get a little bit smelly, but it was very lightweight and it allowed it to dry every night, which is super important. And along with that, when we were down in lower elevations, I also wore my Lululemon Align biker shorts. And these were lifesavers because if I would not have brought shorts, I think I would have been miserable down in lower elevations.
And these were the shorts I wore. They're just Target shorts, and I love them.
For socks, we each brought 3 pairs of trekking socks, and we each had 1 pair of sleeping socks. So our sleeping socks and our trekking socks did not mix with each other.
You're going to want to keep all of your nighttime clothes separate from your daytime clothes, or else you'll be sleeping in some smelly stuff.
Right. And I guess let's keep going daytime really quick. So to finish out kind of our daytime, like I said, I brought 10 pairs of underwear. What did you bring?
I brought 3 pairs of underwear.
We had all of our socks in here. We each kept 1 short pair of socks for our flight back to Lukla, so we did not have to wear nasty, stinky socks. I brought 2 sports bras. I brought one that was like pretty supportive that I wore almost every day while trekking, and then one that wasn't as supportive that I wore on a little bit easier days. Actually, I guess I'm actually forgetting. I also brought 1 sports bra to sleep in every night so that I didn't mix stuff over.
And I had 3 pairs of trekking socks. If you have room, bring more pairs of trekking socks because by the end of it, you take them off and you wake up the next morning, you put them back on and you lift it up and your sock is stiff. So it's disgusting.
Nasty.
But if you can, bring more pairs of trekking socks.
Yeah. All right. I guess our last thing that we kind of wore during the day were our buffs. These are super important.
Yes.
You pretty much just wear them around your neck all day, every day. Keeps the sun off your neck. And also when it got colder, you were able just to pull it up. And yeah.
It's a good UV protection, and it is good to keep your neck and ears warm when it's really cold and windy.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Our sleeping gear.
Sleeping gear, super important. Bring comfy stuff.
Bring very comfy things. So I have these super comfy, stretchy sweatpants that I slept in every single night. I really do love these sweatpants just as like an everyday wear, and they were perfect for the trek.
And I have my Lululemon sweatpants that I just can't say enough good about, so.
I also brought 1 more short sleeve shirt that I planned on wearing at night. I never wore it at night actually. I ended up wearing it a few times at higher elevations as like more layering, but never at night.
I also brought a pair of leggings for nighttime that I never used because I was warm enough with our -20 sleeping bags. So, just in case.
I did bring a pair of leggings that were like thermal leggings. I did wear these a few times just to mix it up from wearing my sweatpants. I did just wear them by myself. I thought I was going to have to wear them together, but never had to because our sleeping bags were so warm.
Of course, we had our thick, fuzzy nighttime socks. Worked great. Keep your feet warm. You need socks at night in higher elevation.
Yes. Here's my sports bra. It's just a Lululemon Align sports bra. It's a really comfy one.
And then my t-shirt, I have a Lululemon t-shirt. Super soft. Good to sleep in.
And then the last thing that we slept in every single night were our fleece sweaters.
Yes.
So these were absolute lifesavers. We wore these every single night to bed, and they're super warm and allowed you to not have to layer up a bunch. This is the thickest we ever wore anything to bed. So. And
if you're on a budget, just go to KTM City to get your fleece because
these were cheap.
It was like buy one get one. Super cheap, super soft, perfect.
Right, it was perfect.
And then
for when we are in the tea houses at night, we would just wear our pajamas. We would get to the tea house, take a wipe shower, put our pajamas on, and then chill in our pajamas all night. But one of the things that I really loved, I bought these yak slippers. These were perfect for tea houses. They kept my feet warm, and it allowed me to get my feet out of my boots, which was amazing.
Now, I brought my tennis shoes. They worked perfect for me. You want some sort of shoe because going into the squatty potties, the floors are super wet and disgusting, so you want shoes to wear.
I ended up just wearing the boys' shoes, but I also did bring my tennis shoes. I actually took my insoles out and put them into my hiking boots. But I brought them because I wasn't sure if my boots were gonna make it or not, and I wanted another pair of shoes just in case we had to trek down the mountain and my shoes broke.
And the last thing, I think this is our very last thing we brought, it was a thin blanket that we did
It's
actually...
an airplane blanket,
it's an airplane blanket. Very thin, but it's like big enough. And we used this in the tea houses quite a few nights just to cover our legs with, because tea houses are cold when they don't have the fires going.
Yeah.
So...
I guess the very last thing was our boots.
Oh, yeah.
I bought my boots and Kyle rented his. Mine actually started coming apart. I bought them 2 days before our trek, and the day before our trek, they actually started coming apart already. So we took them back to the shop, and they're so nice there, and they actually went and got them resold for me.
Yep. Yeah, so if you are going to buy boots in Tamil, definitely wear them for a couple days before your trip, so you can see that they're going to fall apart, and then you can get them restitched.
Right, our friend Dan, who ended up coming with us, his boots actually ended up completely falling apart.
Yeah.
And he just bought some super glue and super glued them back together, and it worked perfect. But you don't want that to happen. So, yeah, that was that.
So,
well, thanks for watching. We hope you have an amazing time on your Everest Base Camp trip, if that is what you're doing.
yes.
We will be leaving a link to a PDF with our entire packing list below. That will be on our website. That stuff was super helpful for us. So
we hope this helped you, because we had to dig through quite a few blogs to find everything we needed. So hopefully this is something that will help you.
All right. See you later. Enjoy our Everest Base Camp trip.